Clean your face. Can you do it? You're not a child. I want to feel like one. Please. Can you do it?
When in 1974, in Moscow, a young girl named Dasha messes up her gymnastics training, she violently kills her boyfriend and covers his face in chalk powder as her modus operandi. In the present, Villanelle is getting married to a woman named Maria, but things go sour very quickly when Dasha, her former mentor, shows up and they start fighting. In London, Carolyn and her department are put under supervision by Paul Bradwell, while Eve is picking up the pieces of her life and has quit MI6. Back in Spain, Dasha offers Villanelle the option to return to the 12, the secretive organization she had been working for, but Villanelle demands that she is given promotion to the high rank of Seeker. Dasha tells her that she can be promoted if she proves herself. In Gerona, Italy, Villanelle kills the owner of a spice shop as per her assignment and then covers her kill in paprika spice, copycatting Dasha's modus operandi. Back in England, Kenny has also quit MI6 and now works as an open source investigator at Bitterpill. When Eve sends him a message, he visits her and they talk about the events in Rome and MI6, with Kenny revealing that he is still investigating the 12. When on the following day Eve then visits Kenny at Bitterpill, she's horrified when she sees Kenny's body after he apparently has killed himself by jumping from the roof. At Kenny's memorial service, Eve meets Kenny's boss and colleague, Jamie and Bear. Constantine is also present at the service and to his surprise sees Eve there, alive and kicking after being shot in Rome. He then goes to talk with Geraldine, Kenny's sister, and later uses her by giving her a souvenir magnet with a built-in microphone to monitor Carolyn. In Barcelona, Dasha tells Villanelle that to be promoted, she has to mentor and guide a newcomer on the next assignment. But when the newcomer Felix messes up the stealthily planned assassination and resorts to raw violence, Villanelle executes the target as well as Felix. In London, Carolyn visits Eve at the Korean restaurant and tells her she also doesn't believe that Kenny killed himself and is secretly investigating. She then shows Eve the spice kill in Gerona, telling her that Villanelle is back. While trying to find out what has happened to Kenny, Eve had taken Kenny's phone from the Bitterpill office the day he died. Jamie and Bear find out about this and offer Kenny's investigation on a thumb drive for the phone. However, when Jamie is unable to give her Kenny's thumb drive since the police have it, Eve takes the phone back and leaves to go see Carolyn. Eve tells her that she has Kenny's phone, not knowing that Constantine is listening in on them via the souvenir magnet. Constantine then goes to see Villanelle in Barcelona and tells her that Eve has survived Rome. Villanelle goes to her meeting with Dasha, who gives her her next assignment, which is in London. In that same London, Carolyn, her colleague Mo, Eve, Jamie and Bear decide to investigate Kenny's death together, with Bear then finding a hidden message in Kenny's Rubik's Cube, leading them to a bank account used by the 12 and discovering that a large sum has been stolen from that account. Meanwhile, Constantine visits an accountant named Sergey, who informs him that $6 million has been stolen from the 12 and that he needs his help to retrieve it. Trying to find out who owns the bank account, Carolyn runs into an old friend of hers who happens to work at that bank. Having squeezed out of him the necessary information, Carolyn informs Eve that the bank account belongs to Sergey, who works as an accountant for the 12, not knowing that Sergey is looking for that money and is not a thief. Eve then goes to her husband Nico in rehab, but is told that Nico has gone, probably to Poland. On the bus, Eve then stumbles upon Villanelle and they fight and even kiss, but eventually stop when Villanelle tells her she's not here to kill her. Having located Sergey, Carolyn and Mo chase and capture him, but they are then located themselves by Villanelle, who kills Sergey. Villanelle then goes to see Constantine and asks him to find her family. With Sergey dead, Constantine visits Sergey's wife, Bertha, and convinces her to trust him. Back in Barcelona, Villanelle is visited by Dasha, who tells her that the 12 want to meet her. When Dasha has left, Constantine shows up and tells Villanelle he has located her family and will give her the location if she kills someone for him. Agreeing to his proposal, Villanelle travels to Lyon and kills Bertha. Continuing her city trip, she arrives by train in the town of her family in Russia. Having lost Sergei as a source to take down the 12, Eve has Bear investigate the Paprika kill in connection with similar kills in the past, while still desperately messaging Nico. The next day, Bear informs her and Jamie that the Paprika kill is a copycat kill from the 1974 Chalk kill. But instead of chasing that lead, Eve finally receives a message from Nico and decides to go to Poland to visit him. However, while Eve and her company were looking into her Chalk kill, Dasha had been visited by Helene, a high-ranking agent for the 12, who has ordered Dasha to do something about the strange love-hate relationship between Eve and Villanelle, so that Villanelle would not be distracted anymore. So with those orders, Dasha had traveled to Poland and infiltrated Nico's life. When Eve then arrives, Dasha drives a pitchfork through Nico's throat, with Eve watching in absolute terror, but not seeing who attacked him. Having arrived in the town of her family, Villanelle locates the house in which they live. Entering the house, she meets Borka, her half-brother, Fyodor, her stepbrother, Grigory, her stepfather, Yula, her stepsister maybe, and then finally the brother she grew up with, Pyotr, who remembers her as Oksana, which is her real name. Her mother, Tatiana, then arrives as well, hugging Oksana and proclaiming her happiness that she is still alive. Tatiana explains to Oksana that the orphanage had told her that Oksana had died during a fire, which Oksana had started, while the orphanage had also told Oksana that her parents had died in a car crash. Her mother tells her that she regretted putting her there and was planning to get her back, but then the fire happened. Catching up with her family and even participating in a festival the next day seemed to have given Oksana her family back. But that all changes that night. Tatiana asks Oksana to leave her house because she carries a darkness with her, but Oksana tells her mother that she is the darkness and that she, Oksana, is just like her mother. With their confrontation escalating, Oksana kills her mother and after guiding Borka to safety, blows up the house with Fyodor, Yula and Grigory still in it, killing all of them. Having lost her family within 48 hours, Villanelle heads back to the world she's familiar with. Surprisingly, having survived his attack, Nico is visited by Eve, but he tells her to bugger off forever. At Bitter Pill, Bear informs her that the 1974 Chalk kill was probably done by Dasha, who now is a gymnast teacher in Barcelona. Finally meeting Helene and receiving her promotion as a keeper, Villanelle is tasked to assassinate a Romanian politician, but voices her frustration by telling Helene that it is the same thing she was doing as a simple operative. Angered by the only on-paper promotion, Villanelle visits Constantine and tells him she wants in on his plan to escape. After having been influenced by Villanelle, Irina, Constantine's daughter, runs over her stepfather with a car and kills him. Back in London, Caroline is handed Kenny's phone records and discovers that he had been calling with a Russian number. She confronts Paul for not having received those records and accuses him of working for the 12. She then meets with Constantine and asks him why he and Kenny had been calling the day before he died. Constantine tells her that Kenny wanted to know whether he was his father and he had answered that he didn't know. Later that night, Constantine is visited by Paul, who tells him that Sergei hadn't stolen the money and that Constantine needs to find that person, not knowing that Constantine is that person. In Barcelona, Eve confronts Dasha and tells her that she tried to make it look as if Villanelle had attacked Nico, but that she knows that Dasha did it. After her last job, Villanelle meets with Helene and her bodyguard Rianne and asks for another job. Meanwhile, Caroline has Mo investigate Paul, but when Mo then sends her a message linking Paul with the 12, he is killed by Rianne. Trying to locate Villanelle to use her as a source to expose the 12, Eve has Bear look into Villanelle's banking transactions. He pinpoints her in Aberdeen, Scotland, with Eve hurrying there to catch up to her. In Aberdeen, Villanelle and Dasha enter a hotel to kill their next target. However, when they finally locate their target at the golf course, Villanelle hits Dasha in the head with a club. Horrified, the target runs for his life and into Eve's cab, which was headed towards the hotel. Eve then makes it to the golf course and finds Dasha there, wounded. When Dasha talks about Nico, Eve tries to kill her, but has to stop when she hears the police coming. Having left Dasha and the 12, Villanelle meets with Constantine and they initiate their escape plan. However, at the train station, Constantine suffers a heart attack and Villanelle escapes with his notes about the whereabouts of the money. Eve then arrives at the station, only to see Constantine down and Villanelle leaving. At the hospital, Constantine has survived his heart attack, but almost suffers another one when he realizes that he has been put next to Dasha. But Dasha soon dies from her wounds, and Constantine leaves the hospital. At a dancing hall, Eve and Villanelle meet, but when Villanelle spots Rianne, she gives Eve the money note and tells her to leave. Rianne approaches Villanelle and tells her to come with her. At a train station, Villanelle decides to kill Rianne by throwing her on the railway and watches her get hit by a train. Following the clues on the note, Eve retrieves a package from his safe, but Constantine then shows up and demands she give him the box since it contains the barcode to money and passports for him and Irina. Constantine is then called by Paul, who tells him that he knows that he is a thief and that he must come to Paul's house. With Eve tagging along, Constantine arrives at Paul's house, only to discover that Paul is held at gunpoint by Carolyn. Villanelle then also arrives there and the gang is complete. Carolyn tells Constantine that Bear has shown her footage proving that he met with Kenny at Bitter Pill on the day that Kenny died, that he has killed Kenny. He admits that he was there, but only to persuade Kenny to join the 12, since Kenny had found out too much about them and would otherwise be killed. And that Kenny kept backing up until he fell, which was an accident. Carolyn does not want to believe him and holds a gun to his head, with Constantine begging everyone for his life. But instead of killing Constantine, Carolyn kills Paul, stating that he had Mo killed and was a traitor. Villanelle and Eve then leave Paul's house and separate to each take their own path, but when they take the first steps, they realize that they need and want each other.
Tell me that you'll kiss me